Honorable Dr. Tejas Garge sir, the chief guest of today's event, the Director of Archaeology and Museums, Government of Maharashtra. The other speaker, keynote speaker, Dr. Madhuri Sawant, my colleague in the department, Director of the International Center for Buddhist Tourism, Professor Arti Suryavanshi, the convener and the head of the Department of Travel and Tourism. So today we are celebrating this Tourism Research Day. Actually, it is from the research team of our students, research alumni. So since last 3-4 years, they have been organizing these events, and this alumni take the initiative to organize specific events, and specifically the webinars and the seminars. And we find that a lot of people are being connected here. So the purpose is to encourage these students, specifically the UG and PG students. And I'm very happy to note that in today's seminar, two very important deliberations were there by the experts, Dr. Tejas Garge sir and Dr. Madhuri Sawant. They really have given us very important ideas and inputs for tourism. Like as teachers of tourism, as tourism planners, we always concerned with the tourist sites across the country. And as we know that in India, there are more than 3,600 sites. And again, we have the World Heritage Sites, and we have all other attractions, natural and cultural attractions in the country. But when we move abroad or when we go for the research, when we write the research articles, when we teach in the class, we find that India is having a population of 130 crores plus. And the tourist arrivals in India, it is very less. It is very minute if we take into consideration the world tourist arrivals. A very small attraction, man-made attraction like the Eiffel Tower of Paris, it attracts more than 8 crore tourists annually. In India, attracts only 1.5 crores. So the number is not significant here. So what we need that, like in Dr. Tejas Garge's presentation, he has mentioned about so many research work they have undertaken in the ASI and in the state archaeology. He was working at he's working at both places. So I was just going through this lecture, and what he has mentioned there, and like he has mentioned about the research in the heritage sites and the excavations, and in this region of Aurangabad, like an example was given about the Rang Mahal at the Devgiri Fort or the Daulatabad Fort. So he has mentioned that we can create an tourist information center. That is very, very unique, and very rarely we see the aerial view of the Daulatabad Fort. It is very beautiful location in the world, and many experts, they do come there. So this one attraction can fetch the tourist. Second was a very interesting example of Vijaydurg, especially the underwater walls. The way he has explained, and this can become a diving spot. Now people are very interested in such kind of activities. Tourism also has certain activities. So here, this product can be developed in Vijaydurg. And already we are finding that in the coming days, a new airport would be starting there. It would be in operation. A very unique example, Dr. Tejas, and we are a part of that. We are in Aurangabad. It is about the nahars and the aqueducts. So the most neglected heritage of Aurangabad are the nahars and the aqueducts. Actually, we have a water heritage in Aurangabad region. And I have identified Aurangabad with Udaipur. If you just look through the Google map, you can find these are the twin cities in terms of the lakes. So Aurangabad also has some lakes like Udaipur. So we can identify these are the twin cities or sister cities with the same location, same kind of environment. Like Aurangabad is having from 3 sides, it is having the mountains. Same location is there at Udaipur. But Udaipur is more popular because of the water heritage. So Aurangabad can also be developed like that. And Sir has mentioned about that, about the $20 ticket entries for the visiting the aqueducts in Europe and Israel. So this is something very unique, and in it is very unfortunate that in Aurangabad we are not even able to go to that aqueduct within ahead. So this is very unfortunate that it is not yet open, or even the local historians, they are not aware about that. So this kind of products can be developed, and a very interesting research which they had undertaken, and it is about the Girija River, and along the Girija River there are so many excavation sites, like they date back to the Harappan civilization. So of that era we find the sites are there, and again these are on the route of Ajanta, Ellora and Patan. Actually it is the ancient trade route. So now this route can be opened, like we have opened the Buddha's trail, like that trail is there in the North India, so that is open for the tourists, so we can develop this product. So the point is that we have to develop new and new products, and already the experts, they have given now in his speech, like madam was telling us about the keynote. In one keynote you get so many ideas. So madam has very elaborately discussed with the students about the tourism research, undergraduate and graduate research, what they have to do, how they have to do, and what is the impact of a keynote. Like the impact, several students are inspired by these speeches given by the experts. And I can share with you an example, like when we were in Portugal, like 2016. So one of the professors from Japan, he was there and he attended very keenly, he was attending madam's lecture. After the presentation, he approached Madam Dr. Madhuri and he expressed a wish that I would like to work with you on this specific topic. So we had a discussion, academic discussion, and we forgot it. But after 2 years, he wrote us back that he wants to come to our university, our department. For 1 year, he wants to stay with us for this research. So he came here, he stayed here, and he went back. So these things can really happen. Now, coming back for the students, I would like to mention some important aspects, like why research is important. Now, if we are in the tourism industry, everybody is desiring for a job, or he wants to go for a new vocation, start his own business enterprise. Now, things have changed. Last 2 years back, when the COVID situation arose in the world, I had given one lecture, and in that lecture I had mentioned, now as we are discussing about history or archaeology and heritage and tourism, so I mentioned that from 2020 onwards, the history would be rewritten. Earlier we had AD and BC and AD. Now I mentioned that after Corona and before Corona, BC and BAC. So BC and AC, now this situation has come. So we are rewriting the history. And again, in this historical events and the changes in the age of pandemics, the situation has changed a lot. Now the situation in terms of jobs. Now you might have seen that, you might have heard and read a lot about people losing the jobs. The entire economy of a country is going down. Lakhs of people are losing the jobs. 100% they are going to lose the jobs, but only those people would survive in the industry who have a research skills with them. Now the jobs in tourism sector, now in the jobs in the tourism sector, now earlier they were open for anybody, but now the tourism sector jobs would only be for the tourism graduates and postgraduates, because the industry would be employing only the graduates and postgraduates who are having the tourism skills. And again, above that, only the students who are having good research skills, they would be employed or they would be gaining higher positions. Now here, when we see today's scenario, the scenario is not good. Why we started with this tourism day and the tourism scholars meet. Long back in 2010, we started with the tourism research scholars meet. Now it is like a forum for interaction of the research scholars. Now from the research scholars, we have come a step down to the UG and PG scholars, the students. Now what is the necessity? Because the research skills are not there in the students across the country, across the world. Now we have come up with a new education policy. And in this education policy, a lot of changes are there. And specifically, we have focused on the internship right from the school. And we also focused on the research component. Like in our university, we run the MTTM program. So in 2018, we revised the entire course curricula in all subjects. And we went for the new OBE, that is outcome-based education. So where we have the course outcome and the subject outcomes and so many things. So in this component, in this course curricula, for every semester, we kept a component of 25% research component. So this is how we are developing research into the students. Now, why research is important? What was there? As we have the experts from archaeology, heritage, and tourism, I would like to make some observations of mine. Like we always boast about the first universities of the world, like Nalanda and Takshashila. And right from Nalanda to Takshashila, we have ISRO. ISRO, I think everybody knows. So from Nalanda to ISRO, we always say that we have a heritage of education. But I will go a step ahead. I will say that India has an heritage of research right from the time of Nalanda till ISRO, the present day research organization, Indian Space Research Organization, and how and why. Like I'll give you some examples. Now there are so many sites and monuments in India. Now for the layman, it is not very important to them, or they are not aware about, they are not knowing about that. Like the ancient sites, the caves and the cave temples. Specifically in the south of India, we have very beautiful temples, structural temples. And in this part of Western India and other parts, we have the rock cut cave temples. Like to give you an example of Ajanta or Ellora. So we always have some theories, or people say that this is the most beautiful monument. It is the best example of the rock cut architecture in the country and all. So we are always talking from one side. It is excavated from top to bottom, or it was constructed by the gods or by the aliens. So many things are being told about that. But as a researcher, I would like to tell you that the case is very different. These all monuments which are excavated, I can say that today we are having the supercomputer Param. Even after having the supercomputer and designing and all, we cannot recreate the cave of Ellora, means that is the Kailash temple, cave number 16. We cannot recreate even today. We can recreate the replicas of the Taj Mahal, like it is in Aurangabad or in other locations. We can also recreate the pyramids. Everything is possible today. We can go to the moon and come back. That is also possible. But we cannot recreate the cave of Ellora, Kailash temple. Why? Because the work, it is research based. Thousands of people were working there for several generations. And it is a very, like when the layman and the people, they say that it has been excavated using a chisel and hammer. So it is not the chisel and hammer. Chisel and hammer are only the tools, but behind them is the brain. And behind the brain, that is the plan. The art architectural plan is there. And the plan has to be executed for the next 100 years, 200 years, 400 years. This is nothing but research. And this research was imparted to us in the ancient universities. So we had reached to that heights. But today, I would like to highlight the importance of research. Like we have an organization, I mentioned ISRO. And some years ago, we had the MOM mission. So in the MOM mission, we find that a satellite was sent into the space to the planet. And during that, a mention was there. A press release was there, which stated that the cost of the satellite, the operating cost, it was less than the price of a auto rickshaw, the rent of a auto rickshaw. Like we go for a metered rickshaw, auto rickshaw. So less than that cost, we could send that satellite into the orbit and it came back. So that is the research we have undertaken. Very nice. But when we come back, what is needed? We have lakhs and crores of the vehicles on the streets, but the operating cost is much more than that. So research is needed there. Research is needed for the alternate energies. We know that the vehicles are running on the hydropower or the other powers or the solar energy, but the commercialization is not there. The production is not there in the large scale. So we need research for these things, for the benefit of the people, for the benefit of the nation. So for that, we have to inculcate the research culture in the students, and for that we have to make them aware. And there are so many things the students can do, like when Dr. Garge was telling us, through very small things. Madam also told about very small things that can be developed into a tourism product, and we can earn money. You can earn money, and the locals can earn money. So this can happen. So here, like the students, what we teach to the students is very important. Like when we go to the engineering colleges, and we find that they are making the prototypes of the racing car, hybrid cars. Now there is no point in recreating the same things. We have to think ahead of that. Now where is the world going? It is going into AI, artificial intelligence. Now we have to move ahead into that. So we have to open up the new research areas, and these new research areas can be opened. They can be opened by the teachers. For that, the teachers helps. They also have to be very research oriented. They should also have the research backgrounds. And without research, the future is not possible. Now, today I would like to say that things are changing a lot. And when we talk about the future, the research potential is very vast. Madam has already told us about the several openings in the research sector. To tell about the openings, like we as students of tourism, we always go for the travel agencies, tour operations, aviation, hospitality. But this sector is wide open, and there are very few people. Like we have the research and consultancy, like we work with the Ministry of Tourism. There are so many assignments, there are so many projects where we need the research personnel. Like we are having the projects of the Ministry of Science and Technology. But since last some months, we are unable to get. So we are unable to get the tourism, this research professionals. We have the post, we have the salaries up to 60,000, but there is nobody available to us because there is a scarcity of the research personnel. So likewise, we have so many posts whenever there are projects or even in the consultancy assignments. So several openings are there. So students can go and fetch their jobs. But only thing is that they have
Doubts, I will be
well versed in
resolved to our
tourism research.
respective more expertise staff like Sakat sir or
Okay, somebody was there. So here, tourism research is very important. Already the experts have quoted that. And here I would like to summarize that after a very long period of time, like I'll just explain in a very short, like we started with Nalanda till ISRO. So Nalanda was there, and we know about the invasions. And after the invasions, Nalanda was lost, it was looted, it was burned, and the knowledge was lost. And after that, that knowledge couldn't be regained. We lost the knowledge forever. And slowly, we are gaining that knowledge. It is taking hundreds of years. And in between, we find we had the British system of education. That was also good, but again, it is not good in some aspects. Some aspects are not relevant today. So we have revised the entire education policy. So I'm fortunate to be a part of that. So in this national education policy, now we have gone back to our ancient past. So whatever we had in the ancient past, the scientific heritage of knowledge, so that we are inculcating into the students. Now very soon your entire syllabus would be revised, right from the school level to the PG and the PhD level. So these things are bound to happen. And again, we will find that some positive changes would be there. The students would be getting more opportunities. Like we have the problem of unemployment is there. Unemployability is on a large scale because whatever degrees are being distributed literally by the universities and colleges. Now it is a question asked by the Member of Parliament Shashi Tharoor. You can find it on the internet, on YouTube. So he had asked in the Parliament a starred question in the Rajya Sabha, the status of the engineering graduates in India. And the Honorable HR Minister had given the answer that 78% of the graduates are not fit for employment. This was an official statement in the Parliament. So this is the status. We just imagine about the other sectors. So we are just literally distributing the degree. But again, the rest of the students, they are getting the best jobs. The jobs are not over. We have the best jobs, but we don't have the best students. And to become a best student, you have to have all this research background. Now we are focusing since last so many years, every course curricula in the country, we are focusing on the English language or the communication skills and the grooming. Now grooming communication skills, they are needed 100%. But again, you should also have the research skills that is most needed. So we have revised accordingly and very soon you will be there. And with this, I would like to again inform you that in the recent past, like last 2 years, we were working on a project with the Honorable Minister of State for Finance, Dr. Bhagwat Karad. He's a member of Parliament from Aurangabad. So we had a meeting and we had a discussion about establishing a tourism university. And fortunately, after 2 years, the things are in favor and it has been worked out. I have already submitted a proposal and it is soon going to be a reality. So in the coming days, we will have a full-fledged tourism university in the country. And that would be a very big opportunity for the tourism graduates, postgraduates, researchers, and the professors. Very soon it would be a reality. And for that, we have to be ready. And again, on this tourism research day, I would like to give a message to the students and to the students, to the teachers and the academicians and the stakeholders that everybody has to go for the research for conservation and preservation of our heritage, research for the conservation, preservation of our heritage for the prosperity of the nation. Like I mentioned about, this is a very important aspect. Like I'll give you one example. Nowadays, everybody is online and all data, it is stored in the hard drives and in the computers. And one fine day you find it is corrupt and all data is lost. Same as Nalanda, everything is lost. Now this is bound to be lost, but for that, what we have to do, everybody has to participate in the research process and they can very finely go for the research in their particular areas. It may be a small office or a big office or a company. Everywhere they can document. And this document is very, very important. Like I told you, we lost everything. One fine day, invader came, Bakhtiyar Khilji came and he burned the University of Nalanda. He killed the teachers and all. We know the history. Everything was lost. Nothing was there with us. But the knowledge was already transferred to China and from China to Japan and other parts because they were translated into Chinese by the scholars, Yuan Shengfai and several other scholars. They had already translated the entire books of Nalanda and taken them back. So the knowledge is still with them and it is not with us. So we lost that knowledge. So my point is that everybody has to document whatever they have with us, whatever they have with them, they have to document, and documentation in the form of the books and on the computers and everywhere, and it has to be shared. So in the future we will not lose it. Again, you know that because of the Nalanda, the destruction of Nalanda, we went 1,000 years back into the world history, into the field of education and knowledge. We were back, and people or the countries from the other parts of the world, they went ahead of us. They became the developed nations, and we are still in the developing nations category. So this is the importance of knowledge. So with this, I would like to thank the organizers, Professor Arti Suryavanshi, for hosting this event and making this platform available for the teachers, academicians, and especially the UG and PG students. So thank you very much, man. And thank you, Dr. Tejas Karge and Dr. Madhuri, for gracing and enlightening the students. Thank you, sir.